Ruby, two things. First of all, thanks very much for taking the time out to talk to us.
It's a great pleasure, Rick.
And the second one is, I love anybody who can sing When Irish Eyes Are Smiling and bring a tear to my eyes. That's a real Irishism, isn't it?
Well, it is. That's a real compliment, you know.
Well, you did. I was in tears, and so was my wife. Sarah was sat there with the tears streaming down our faces while you were singing Irish Eyes Are Smiling. It was a bit ridiculous, but it was lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Ruby, you left Ireland a long time ago to come and make your name in England, didn't you?
Yes, well, I left Ireland, when I was 16. Well, that's 148 years ago. No, I left very young. I came over to England with an Irish show, funny enough, you know, and just as luck would have it, I did well here, got on well with the people, and I've sort of been here on and off ever since, but I go home at least twice a year, you know.
And home is?
Belfast. Yes.
Now, as far as people are concerned, everything started for you with Softly Softly and all those hits.
Yes.
But, in fact, you were in show business.
Oh, no, I was in show business since I was 11. You know, when I say professionally, I mean I got paid for it. My mother and I used to get 10 and 6pence a night, and that was for doing 2 shows, you know. By the time I got a bus to wherever we were going, and fish and chips in between the shows were out of pocket, you know. But I started singing very young, actually. I really haven't known any other life except singing. The thing is that when I came to England, I got a chance to make records and to do television, and that's when people sort of got around to knowing me, you know.
You come from a show business family?
No, I don't know nobody at all in my family in show business.
Really, despite the fact that you started so early?
None of them know. My father loved show people, but none of them were ever in it.
So
No.
How did you come to start so early then? Where was the encouragement from?
Well, as I say, my father loved show people. He had a thing about him. He was only a docker, you know, and but he loved show people. He loved the stage, and from a very early age I could kind of sing in tune, and that was enough for him. He was a pusher. He pushed me and fought for me, and you know, struggled to see that I got on, you know, because I had no ambition for myself really. I never dreamt that I'd ever even get to England or do anything, you know, but he had a lot of faith in me and pushed me.
How did the first hit record come about?
Well, I came over to England with an Irish show, as I said, and I did, there was a producer in the audience. I was working the Metropolitan Edgware Road, which is gone now, and there was a TV producer, an Irishman called Richard Afton, in the audience, and he asked me if I'd like to do a trial TV show, which was Quite Contrary, a show called Quite Contrary, which was very popular, and I did it. And on the same night I did the first one, I had a telephone call from a man called Ray Martin. I don't know if you remember Ray Martin, who's a great orchestra leader, you know, and he phoned me the same night and said, would I like to do a test for records, which I did, and I got the record contract. And the first song I ever made was a song called Get Well Soon, which only my family bought. It didn't sell very many, you know, it didn't do very much. And the second song I recorded was a song called Heartbeat, and it was the first one to get into the top 10. And the third song I recorded was Softly, which of course was the very biggest one, you know. And then I had a couple more after that, and they were all at the same time. There were 5 of them in the top 20. So it was all a rather hectic and wonderful year, 2 years, you know.
Get Well Soon was quite a good song, really.
Oh, lovely. Oh, very beautiful song.
About you.
That's right.
Was the timing wrong for that?
Well, people didn't know me. It's still a great song. You know, for people in hospital, it's a very sentimental, very nice song. I think it should have got further than it did. Probably the time was wrong, you know.
Probably wrong for a first record.
For a first record, yes.
Great after something.
Maybe afterwards, yes, yes.
Now, how did the other songs come about? Paddy Roberts wrote one of your songs, didn't he?
Oh, Paddy Roberts wrote Softly, and Evermore. The one that I did after Softly was a song called Evermore. Paddy wrote that.
How did they come about? Because Paddy is such a, well, was rather a comedian. He was
yes.
Funny songs.
Well, I don't know, because I was terribly naive when I first joined the recording scene. You know, I didn't. People, Ray used to give me a song and say, "This is good for you," and I'd sing it over, and I never questioned it. You know, if he said it was good, it was good. You know, and I didn't know that. I didn't know Paddy Roberts was as great as he obviously was. You know, I didn't comprehend that at the time. You know, but he wrote it, and he wrote Evermore, and of course I was very sad when he died last year, Paddy.
You got off to an incredible start, meeting somebody like Ray Martin at the very start of your career.
Well, it was wonderful because 6 months probably before that, I was his greatest fan. You know, I used to sit in Ireland. I did a season in Bundoran, and I used to love Blue Tango. I don't know if you remember him doing that, but I used to sit and really drool over it. You know, and of course when he came on the telephone himself, you know, I nearly fainted. You know, and he said, "This is Ray Martin speaking." I couldn't believe it. You know, it was wonderful, and we became great friends, and I loved singing with him because he brought out the best in me. You know, he didn't just give you a song and say, "Sing it." He used to tell you all the time I was recording. I used to watch him, and he was always bringing you out, you know, and saying, "Come on, sing," you know, and it was wonderful for me. He's the kind of man that I needed to record with. After that, I recorded with, when Ray left and went to America, I recorded then with Norrie Paramore for a long time, and Norrie was great too, you know, still is, and very, very nice gentleman.
Very talented.
Yes, oh, very, very. We had some wonderful times together.
He's one of my idols in show business, actually.
Is he really?
A few times.
Oh, he's very, very nice. Yes.
You went through all this big time. It really was big time
Yes.
in those days, and you've come through the 60s and the 70s. You're still a star. Now, one of the big things that people don't appreciate is the fact that you're not having any hit records, you're not appearing on television every other week.
That's right.
So they think, oh, she's gone home, she's
Yeah.
out of the business. What is a typical kind of year for you?
Oh, my life is fairly hectic, actually. I've been to Rhodesia twice in the last 2 years. You know, I've been out there twice.
Did you tell him, no?
I'm not saying anything till I see my solicitor. No, I must tell you that I had, which I consider a privilege, I had lunch with Ian Smith and his wife, and I was very impressed with him. I found him a very honest, lovely gentleman, and his wife has written to me several times since I've been back in England, you know, and I thought they were lovely, because I take people as I find them, you know, and that's counting politics aside, you know, because I keep politics out of my business, you know. But I go over to Africa quite a lot. I've been to Canada and America, and I've been to Ireland a couple of times. You know, it's nice to go home.
Yeah, of course it is. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the greatest country in the world.
Oh, wonderful. Nobody like them.
Now, you're still getting the star treatment in the 70s. How does it compare with, say, the 60s and the 50s?
Well, the 50s for me were the height of my career, you know, the real peak of my career. But to be quite honest with you, I was earning a lot of money, and I was working so hard that I didn't really enjoy it, you know, because I was tired, and, you know, everybody wants to make money out of you when you're at that stage of your career, you know. And of course the tension was terrific, and I'm a bit of a nervous person anyway. So I couldn't really say that I enjoyed it. I was working awfully hard, even though I went to America, met Frank Sinatra, which was all wonderful. But it's better for me now, I'm on a more of a level keel, because I can sing and enjoy it when I want to, and the pressure isn't the same, And it's better now, because I look back and I think, well, did that really happen to me? It was wonderful. It was really wonderful, but I enjoy it more looking back on it than I did at the actual time.
At what point in your career did you start this terrific line of patter? It's some beautiful jokes. You must tell us one before we finish as well.
Well, that was funny because I've always told jokes to, if I was with friends, even when I was very young, if I was with people that understood me or that I felt comfortable with, I used to tell a lot of gags, and some people used to say, I thought you were terribly quiet, and I am, but I like telling gags, and I was stuck on the stage one night in Wolverhampton. I was doing a show with Mike and Bernie Winters, and they were on just, I was on and they were following me, you see, and I'd done all my show, I'd done all the numbers that I had rehearsed, so I had nothing else to do. And I went off, you see, and I came back on. I heard them saying, do something else, Ruby, do something, because I hadn't fixed up their props, at the back. And I was stuck on the stage with nothing to sing, so I had to tell a gag. That was the only, it went better than my act. So after that, I started to put a little joke in there and then, and I found it easier to communicate with people if you can talk to them, and they get to know you quicker, your personality and everything.
This Irish thing, at the beginning, when you were really at the top, you were billed as an Irish colleen and all this. Did you find this restrictive in any way? Did you have to play up the Irish thing?
Oh, no. I think people knew I was Irish, but I was never an Irish singer, if you understand what I mean. I wasn't an Irish ballad singer or anything.
Were people expecting you to be terribly Irish and singing Irish songs?
No. I have always sung Irish songs in my act, but I'm basically just a ballad singer, really. That's all. But of course I make. They all know I'm Irish now, and of course with everything the way it is. You try and make the best of it, with the troubles and everything,
yeah.
But people are wonderful over here, I find.
Do you have any problems at all with our problem?
None, no. No, I can honestly say nobody has ever said to me anything detrimental, which I think is rather wonderful, because it's a bit funny sometimes. You go up, and I've gone on the stage sometimes, and I've been in a town where I know people have lost sons, and it's been very tricky, but nobody has ever said anything to me, which I think is lovely,
When it comes to choosing your songs, obviously you can't ignore Softly Softly Evermore, no matter how much you want to, but how do you select all the rest of these songs? Do you have any?
Well, I only sing things that I like, things that make me feel something. I can't sing anything that I don't feel, even, if it's Top of the Hit Parade or anything. And I've always been the same. If I didn't like it, I couldn't sing it, I just sing what I really like, basically.
You do that lovely Chris Jefferson song, Have Me Make It Through the Night.
Yes.
Are there any others of the 1970s?
Yes, I do Feelings, which I love. Do you know Feelings? I do, actually. I do it most nights, and I do The Streets of London, which I love again. I do things, and It's Impossible, and love's been good to me, those sort of things, you know.
Basically, it's just songs that you like.
Yes, it
Not
is.
necessarily because everybody else is singing them that you feel you want to.
No. Even if they're way out of date, if I like them, I like to sing them, you know.
When could we possibly expect to see you on television again?
Oh, oh Lord. I'm not, maybe Christmas, there's a, I don't like to be definite about this, but there's an inquiry in for the Queen's Jubilee for me to do a TV for the Queen's Jubilee, which would be wonderful if it comes off, you know. It would be wonderful, yes. Thank you.
I've got one or two other things that I wrote down here. I'm dragging it out a bit.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, one thing I was curious about, this is kind of harping on how long you've been around as well, but have you found that there's any different kind of reaction from people down over the years?
No. You see, I find that I draw people of my own age group, and even when I have drawn, or when younger people have come in, I've been very happily surprised that they've been, you know, that they have liked what I do.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, because a lot of young people in there tonight.
Yes.
And they obviously enjoyed it
Well,
as much as we did.
well, that pleases me very much, you know.
Came along with your songs, you know, and the older people as well.
Yes.
But it was just a surprise to see so many young people enjoying it.
Well, it's lovely for me too, you know.
I think that must be the sincerity which comes across,
Well,
that they recognize that.
thank you. I hope so.
Ruby, you're a lovely person, and I thoroughly enjoyed tonight, and I wish the patients could get out of hospital and come and see you.
Well, I really,
Down here on Saturday night.
well, I really hope they'll all be well very soon. I give them all my best wishes.
I will do that. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Pleasure.
Best of luck in the future and everything you do.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.